On this episode, Eric and I discuss Ukraine's troubles with Trump, an assassination, the Russian summer offensive, and more. Okay, let's go.
Conflict, politics, military-industrial complex, technology, war. The Flash Traffic Podcast.
I did pose the is the tank dead question.
Yeah.
I posed is the tank dead, and they were both armor officers, and of course they said no, the tank is not dead.
And either is the Battle of Gettysburg, which they refight every year at the Army War College.
Maybe it's important. If you don't learn from history, you're bound to repeat it.
Yeah, right. You got to learn how to take Little Round Top again to learn about how modern drone warfare impacts the battlefield. Agree 100%.
Little Round Top is just another, form of Mariupol.
And we'll just replace the grape shot and the smoothbore cannons with drones. See, it's the same.
It's exactly the same. People die. Wars are over. That's how it goes. Very simple.
I sleep much better at night hearing that. That's great. Great news. Okay.
Zelensky, let's talk about this G7 meeting in Canada. Zelensky left early.
Zelensky or Trump left early?
They both did.
Did Trump leave early, and then Zelensky came in after he left?
No, I believe Trump left early because of the Israeli-Iran conflict. And then Zelensky just left because he had met everyone except Trump, and Trump was gone.
Why would he meet Trump to begin with? What's the point?
I don't know. Because Trump doesn't care about Ukraine.
Yes, there's no reason to meet him.
No. 3 days ago, Trump was entertaining the idea that Putin might mediate the Israeli-Iran conflict.
Only an incompetent boob could even float that idea as a possibility.
But then today, Trump came out and said, "Why don't you work on your own war, and then before you start on the Middle East, I guess."
Oh, that's shocking. So he backtracked immediately after being publicly disabused of the notion. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Impressive. Very impressive.
Yes. G7 talks end in Canada. Ukraine comes away with little is the title of the New York Times article today. Looks like he didn't get any deal on weapons. He talked to everybody else in the G7. Trump said something about, hey, it was a tragedy that Russia was kicked out of the G8 and it reverted back to the G7.
Actually, it was good policy that Russia was kicked out of the G8, and they should have done far more than that. But when you're a Kremlin apologist, of course you're going to say that.
Yeah, I believe they kicked Russia out of the G8 and turned it back into the G7 after they invaded Crimea in 2014. Yeah, it doesn't look good. I mean, this is not good press for Zelensky or Ukraine. And the world has a lot of other things going on now.
But let's also be clear, this isn't a good look for the G7 member nations who can't get out of their own way and can't do anything decisively, strategically in their own backyard in Europe. So let's clarify that. It's not a good look for Europe.
Or Canada. Or Japan.
Correct.
Who else is in the G7? I don't think this article says. Maybe it says in the bottom.
Well, I know it's Britain. I know it's France. I know it's Germany. Italy. I know it's Italy. I know it's Canada. I know it's the U.S.
Let's just look at the picture.
The G7 Japan?
Can you discern from the picture? Maybe it's too small. Okay. Italy, France, the U.S., Great Britain, Germany, that's Mertz, Canada, Japan.
Yes, Japan.
Is that it?
Japan's the outlier. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay, whatever. Is that 7? And then Russia, G8. Great. That's awesome. That's exactly what we need. We need Russia to come back into the global world order fold.
So, and they're not, because that's a fantasy. That's a fantasy by the U.S., the delusion of the U.S., the delusion of Europe. They wanted Russia to come back in the fold. They wanted Russia to act like a normal country, to interact with others with diplomacy. They wanted all that, but there's a difference between wanting and reality. The reality is the political processes in Russia were never anything different than the Soviet Union. Yeah, you wanted a lot of things. You thought you could moderate their behavior by having them join the G8 and interact with you. Complete, utter political fantasy and nonsense. And they deluded themselves that they could deal with Putin and that they understood him. Complete nonsense. They've all been embarrassed over the last 25 years.
There's still a huge European faction that really wants to normalize relationships.
Sure,
between
if
Russia, Belarus.
Right, if they can act normal. Right. So that's the whole basis of normalization of
I think that is
relationships,
normal
because you
for Russia,
act
right?
normal. Right.
I think
Not
this
by
is kind of
European
normal.
standards. Yeah, it's normal for Russia, but that's why you deluded yourself that you could change them or moderate their behavior by merely interacting with them. Just like the U.S. and the world thought they could moderate Chinese behavior by inviting them into, all these international institutions. We will change them and moderate them. No, you're not.
Nope,
And you
they're
didn't.
just going to steal all your intellectual property.
They're going to pursue whatever their national goals are, just like Putin is. And he's not going to moderate his behavior because of your fantasy that you want them to be like you.
Yeah. Well, speaking of normalizing relations, look at this. Look at this. Trump envoy set to meet Lukashenko in Belarus. This is Politico. It looks like Keith Kellogg is going to travel to Belarus and
so they're going to meet
Alexander
the
Lukashenko,
fat slob dictator who's one of the last living remnants of the Soviet Union. Cool story, bro.
Yeah. What's the plan here? Is this just capitulation on the Ukraine-Russian negotiations completely? I mean, are they done?
Yeah, I would say that because the Trump administration deluded themselves from day one that they could change or moderate Putin's behavior and that they had an inside track because Trump and Putin are bros. Russia's going to continue to go down and pursue their national security interests as they define them. Doesn't mean you have to like them. Doesn't mean you have to make sense. But Putin is on that track to save his neck and the oligarchs, and that's winning the war in Ukraine. That's their national security interest.
I think the problem is they didn't have a plan to begin with.
Correct.
They had Keith Kellogg, then they switched to Witless, Steve Witkoff, and now Witkoff is obviously preoccupied with the Middle East, which was his original job as the envoy to the Middle East. And now he's got the Iran-Israeli conflict to deal with. And soon it looks like maybe we'll be bombing the shit out of Iran ourselves, because apparently Israel doesn't have the Moab, right? The mother of all bombs, the 3,000 pound, or is it 30? Sorry, 30,000 pound bomb that they push out of the back of a C-17 or something like that. And then it comes down on a parachute. It looks like a nuclear explosion.
The Trump administration did that once in Afghanistan on the personal directive of Trump to show the Taliban we mean business.
Shock and awe. They wanted to shock and awe. There is a story.
It failed, obviously failed spectacularly because it was such a foolish idea to begin with.
There's a story. It's been like so many years now since I've heard that, but this story, but when we dropped that bomb, there were forward observers that were from the UK, and they radio back that we had just nuked the Taliban because it's a huge explosion. It looks like a nuclear bomb.
You probably couldn't have a larger example of how the U.S. just didn't get it, how the U.S. didn't get Afghanistan, how the U.S. didn't get unconventional warfare and counterinsurgency, where you're still using these conventional means to try to fight an unconventional enemy. To the end, the U.S. still just couldn't get it.
Yeah. I mean, the Taliban understands, right, from the beginning of the war when special forces, ODAs were out there with the resistance troops calling in close air support on the Taliban. They get it. I got it. You got big bombs, right? You got helicopters with missiles. You got tanks. You got B-1 bombers, can destroy an entire city block. Once you realize that, it almost becomes unimpressive, right?
They're not fighting you that way. They got it. They're never going strength to strength. They know that. It's a waiting game. They're philosophical. We'll drag this out for decades. And ultimately that worked.
Yeah. Yeah, but now look at Ukraine. Currently, and for the last 3.5 years, they've been fighting this quasi force-on-force conventional battle, right? They've had most success in the asymmetric realm when they do things like, Operation Spiderweb, where they truck a bunch of drones in, using unmanned surface vessels to sink Russian ships in the Black Sea, stuff like that. When it's conventional force on force, especially when it comes to artillery, Ukraine hasn't done that well. Right?
True. I would say right now they're 50-50. I don't think Russia has an artillery advantage. I think they've lost that. I think it's 50-50. I think they rely mainly on North Korean outdated artillery and shells. And if you look at the single biggest loss besides unarmored cars on the battlefield, it's artillery. Artillery is the next piece to fall for the Russians. They've been demechanized. There's no point even talking about armored or mechanized warfare on the front because largely it doesn't exist anymore. You want to talk about the summer offensive, or is that later?
We could talk about it later. Let me see. I think that's pretty much it. The only thing I would add about the political part of this lately is that it looks like Zelensky is may skip the NATO summit in The Hague that's coming up because he doesn't think Trump is going to show, and apparently it's not worth Zelensky's time because he's already glad-handed all the European leaders. They're already on his side. So if Trump doesn't show up, Zelensky's not going to show up. It's not like they're going to make any progress in Ukraine entering NATO. Clearly, that has never been on the table. It never will be on the table.
I wouldn't say never.
Okay, not in my lifetime, your lifetime. Anyways, let's talk about the summer offensive. Let's talk about the summer offensive.
Let's talk about it. Oh, there we are. We're done. What else you want to talk about? What a joke.
Oh.
Let's talk about Kremlin nut huggers. Let's talk about, you're really going to get it now because you bombed all our nuclear capable aircraft and embarrassed us and made us look like no talent ass clowns on the international stage. You're going to get it. Yo, what are you going to do, bro? Hey, Putin, what are you going to do? Show me what you got. What we have seen. Can we agree it's summertime? It's mid-June. It's summer, right?
Yeah.
You were just there. Is like the sun out?
It's pretty hot.
The sun's out.
Yeah,
okay, there's no Rasputinitsatsa, where it's muddy everywhere. With the Russian
really good.
Russian 10-syllable word for mud. Yeah, good job, Russia.
You nailed that.
So all we've seen is rando videos of brilliant Russian tacticians driving their remaining Soviet junk down dirt roads in the middle of open fields around 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., right about lunchtime, and then just getting served up like bacon. by the Ukrainian drone forces artillery. Here's what I say. You say Ukrainian military isn't great. I got it. There's so much evidence to show where you're like, what are you doing? Ukrainian military doesn't have to be good in this situation. Know what they have to do? They got to be awake. That's it. They just
Yeah.
need a dude awake somewhere with a couple of drones hanging out, and you just smoke these guys like it's your job, and then they all just blown up and burning in the middle of an open field that you saw coming 20 kilometers away. Here's your summer
Yeah.
offensive.
Here's a story. This is an old story from 12 June, but it's similar to what you just said from Ukrainian Pravda. Quote, "Are you advancing on Chiokino? We're running into the same brick wall again and again." End quote. What is happening in Sumy Oblast where the Russian troops are moving forward? Yeah, it's slow. It's hard.
And the
Right?
Russian squad leader answer is, duh.
We're moving ahead.
Duh.
Just keep going.
Same brick wall. Now, we're going to change it up. We're going to go at 2 p.m. this afternoon.
Oh,
They're
they never change
expecting
it up.
us
No,
around
no,
11:30.
I'm sorry.
A
That
couple
is not
minutes.
the Russian way of war. They will attack at 7:30 a.m. in the same axis of approach every single day until everyone is dead.
So Ukraine doesn't have to be good. They merely need to be awake, present, like one 18-year-old dude who played Call of Duty and now can fly drones. That's it. And he takes you out. And now you're stuck 10 kilometers behind the flot. We're going to walk forward? Okay.
Yeah, keep going. Just keep going. We have our orders, and we're going. This is what we're going to do. And
World
if
War
we're
I.
lucky, we can do it on motorcycles. If we're not, we're just going to walk this.
And yeah, I saw a video, and I think I forwarded it to you of a fire team of 4 Russians on motorcycles. As soon as they hear the drones, they dump the bikes, and then they try to hide in trenches. And then the Ukrainians are like, "Oh, I just saw you run in that bunker in the trench. I'll fly my drone into that," and you have nowhere to hide. So it works until it doesn't.
Yeah, here's the
Summer
video.
offensive.
Here's
Summer
the video.
offensive.
Here's the video of the motorcycle guys. And let me see if I can pull it up here.
Probably get off the bikes too. Like, you're not going to outrun a drone. What are you going to do?
No.
Dump the bike. Try to hide. Hope Ukrainian surveillance isn't that good.
Yeah. Let's watch this. Make sure the sound's off.
Broad daylight.
I don't want to hear all the Ukrainian techno music. All right, look at these guys.
Pretty bad. This music's pretty
Every
bad.
video has techno music. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, it's
very
horrible.
bad techno music. These guys, hear the drones coming. Throw the
drop
bikes
the bikes.
down
Yep.
and scatter. Oh, this guy's too slow. He caught an FPV right in the
He's
butt.
got 50
Boom.
pounds of equipment on his back. He's not moving fast.
Oh, and now they're just kind of hanging out in the field because they're like, what do we do? Oh,
They're like a
one
trench.
guy's smart. One guy gets in the trench.
There's another
Everybody
guy.
else is standing around. Here we go. Boom.
Oh, there's
Right?
one.
The great thing about FPV drones is, they can fly right into your little foxhole,
Yeah.
right? They're gonna fly right into your little bunker, and he does.
Oh.
And they're all dead. They're all dead.
Oh.
Why are they all dead? Because there's nowhere to go. They found you, and now they're gonna just kill you.
There's nowhere
And
to
each
hide.
one of those soldiers just died from a $300 Chinese drone. Slava Ukraini. Yeah, that was it. That was
Right
the
about
video.
then, I'd be wishing to have a 12-gauge shotgun for the last 10-meter defense.
Whew, man, I don't know.
Skeet shooting.
I say run. Here's your choice. You can have a shotgun with any loadout you want, whatever, buckshot or birdshot or the
I'll
little
go with birdshot.
Kevlar, the little Kevlar Pentagon that I was talking about the other day, Monday. You can have whatever you want, probably birdshot because you don't need any power, right? Or you can just run. What would you pick? Zigzag like an alligator's chasing you, or stop, hold your ground, and hope that you can make that shot. What do you think? Because
Shotgun.
bro, that thing's coming in at 100 miles an
I know.
hour.
Well, you can't run. What are you going to run? There's nowhere to go. You can't
You
run
might-
100 miles an hour.
Yeah, but the drone pilot might, he might
Drone pilot
pick
error,
somebody
maybe
else.
maybe
Yeah,
tube
maybe
it,
pilot error.
tubes it.
If you're standing still, way easier target than if you're zigzagging like an alligator's chasing you.
You have to drop all your equipment, drop your gun, drop your backpack. Like you got to be fast. You got to be mobile.
I think if you drop your gun, even if you survive, they're gonna kick your ass so much
Well,
that
go
you
back and
probably
pick
wish
it
you were
up.
dead.
Go back and
Yeah, I
pick it
guess.
up.
Well, then just drop your stuff and then run around it in a circle.
Yes.
Why not do that? Just keep running.
You're out of luck. I mean, there's nothing left to do.
I'm gonna pick run versus
Okay.
shotgun. I just don't feel confident enough you're gonna make that life or death shot. You're only gonna get one shot.
Okay.
I'm gonna go run. I'm gonna pick run, and if I'm lucky, maybe I can sneak into a hole and then just see how far I can, cover up the entrance.
I like the
going.
guys. I saw a video yesterday. Again, summer offensive, Chinese golf carts and pickup trucks mostly. This guy's running. He's getting chased by the drone. He's going in circles. He climbs into the blown up Chinese golf cart.
What?
Like peering out over like the seat that's already been burnt to a crisp. I'm like, dude, you just stop moving. Like, you got to keep running and
Never
moving.
stop moving.
He's like hiding in the golf cart. No, dude, you're dead. Wait for it.
Does he think that the
Boom!
drone, if that drone can't see him, the Mavic drone that's spotting for the FPV drone can see him. If that drone can't see him, the ISR fixed wing drone that's 1,500 meters above his head can definitely see him. You can't hide. Hiding is the worst thing you can possibly do.
It's a Chinese golf cart. It's nothing but a tubular steel frame. You can see the dude in there. You just made yourself a bigger target.
It doesn't matter. You could climb into a BMP
And
that
you're done.
FPV is going to kill you. It doesn't matter what you climb into.
Well, of course, because
You're
they
dead.
keep all the hatches open, so they can fly right in.
Yeah. There's no living.
It's perplexing.
on the modern battlefield. Do you want to do an assassination update? We like to keep up with all the assassination attempts.
Who got whacked?
Well, it's a collaborator.
Oh man, I'm out of touch.
In Berdyansk, just happened. Let me share the screen.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. Ukraine kills collaborator tied to
Oh.
POW torture in occupied
Oh.
Berdyansk. Intelligence source claims. So let's go to the map, and yeah, he's dead. He's pretty much dead.
Oh, they whacked him.
Okay.
Is that the pistol they found on the scene?
Yeah, it's a PM. That's what they were using. So
Cheap Russian
it's
piece of shit.
Makarov. So Pistoli or whatever it is, PM Pistoli Makarov. It's the old Soviet 9mm. They said it had a silencer on it, so maybe it's like
Very
the modern
sophisticated.
version. Yeah.
I wonder if they made one, if they improvised silencer or whatever. I don't know.
No, we'll go back to the picture, but it looked pretty new. Here we go. Berdyansk is down here, right by Mariupol. It's on the Azov Sea.
Yeah.
So it's pretty deep into occupied territory.
As deep as you're going to get.
Yeah, pretty much, unless you're on Crimea.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is a pretty good strike. I mean, that's a pretty good deep partisan.
It's a human asset. It's a human doing this. It's part of the resistance. The resistance exists. We got assassination cells behind the lines. Is that the suppressor at the bottom? At first, I thought it was like the magazine.
It's the suppressor. Yeah.
Quiet hit.
Yeah. I mean, it's a 9mm. Come up right. You got to be, the dude had to be touching this guy, right? You're not going to hit any. Look at that gun. You're not further than 5 feet away. You're not going to be able to hit a human with that.
You just walk up behind the guy with a ball cap. You just put it right in the back. Boom, bounce.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they threw the gun, shot him through the gun.
Apparently, but do you want your? I guess you're wearing gloves, right? You're wearing gloves in the summer.
I'd be wearing double latex gloves, dude. Like you don't want fingerprints on there.
In the summer, though,
I don't care. It's showing him inside. They said in the city. It looks like he's in the hallway of a building, maybe. hallway of an
Yeah.
apartment? I
Yeah.
mean, I walk up
There's not.
behind you, touch the back of your head, fire 2 shots, drop the gun. I
Yeah.
got latex gloves on. Have you seen The Departed?
Yes, it's been a while though.
Good movie. Remember Marky Mark comes in. He's been gone for 2 weeks. He's got a counter forensics suit on, and he's looking at Matt Damon, and Matt Damon's like, "What?" And he's like, "Boom."
Yeah.
Shoots him in the head, and he's got the shoe coverings on. He's got latex gloves on. You're like getting no lint, no footprints from this guy. He's wearing a counter forensic suit and whacks the dude in his
Would
apartment.
Let me ask you this: wouldn't it be wiser to empty the clip? I think the PM has maybe 8 rounds. It's not a lot. Look, I mean, look at that gun. It's super small.
It's about as cheap a gun as you're going to find.
The Makarov has about 8 rounds, 9mm. Wouldn't you just empty it, right? Like get him in the head and then just empty it in the body.
Also, how well does that pistol work with that suppressor? Oftentimes you got cycling problems when you use a suppressor. Sometimes you get loss of blowback. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes the first round goes off, and then you got to manually cycle it. Depends on the weapon. Depends on whatever. Well, how many times did they shoot the guy? Well, the guy's dead. They did something right.
Yeah, you can't tell from the picture, right? It looks like he only shot him in the head.
You don't see it in his body
picture.
anywhere. Yeah, right.
Yeah, but remember that kid that shot the CEO of the pharma
Right.
firm?
Yep.
Didn't that video, if I recall, didn't he have cyclic problems
Get a
with
suppressor,
his
right?
pistol? Yeah, he had a suppressor, I think, and he had to manually cock the thing after the first shot.
Rookie move. You didn't test your equipment.
Maybe, but he did have the wherewithal to chamber that thing really quickly after it jammed. So
after he left video intelligence of himself all across town, Starbucks.
The kid wasn't a hitman.
The discipline it takes to do this. Have you seen Day of the Jackal, the movie by Frederick Forsyth?
I saw the old one, the very old one. Yes.
The newer one is pure garbage. Don't even waste your time. Don't waste your time. It's garbage. Yeah. The old one, you want to see the discipline it takes to do a hit, the discipline it takes to go through with something like that. Most humans simply don't have it.
Didn't he wave off like 3 times, or am I remembering it differently?
No, the problem
he had
was
a shot and then he waved off.
No, De Gaulle does a kiss, the Gallic cheek-to-cheek kiss.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes to take a shot. De Gaulle moves his head to do the Gallic kiss, and he shoots and misses. And he's got a 22 caliber pistol that was hidden in 2 crutches. And then the cops are on to him. So he missed his one shot. The cops bust in, and it's drama. But yeah, if you want to see the discipline, the forensics discipline to do something like this, most people can't pull it off. Humans are lazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And creatures of habit.
I think it's interesting that they jettisoned the gun. So maybe they were somewhere where they wanted to blend in with a crowd and they didn't want to get stopped and questioned. And
you get stopped at a checkpoint. Oh, you have a suppressed pistol in your pocket. Oh, I guess you did it. Like, you get rid of this, you have no incriminating evidence. If you got no fingerprints on this, a lot of people screw up too. When they're loading a pistol, you're getting fingerprints on those rounds. You'll have a thumbprint, or you're grabbing the round and you got prints. You got to do the whole process forensically disciplined. But again, are we giving the Russians too much credit? Do you think they're like dusting for fingerprints? Do you think they have a firearms registry?
I think they have that technology. I'm sure the
But
police.
Do you think they're using it?
Yeah, I think so. I think the Russian police would at least, do their due diligence on this.
So how good is that of a terminally corrupt nation, but their police are really good, and they collect fibers, and they do gunshot residue tests, and they match the bullet in the body to the gun, and they're looking at the cartridges for fingerprints. So everything else in Russian society is a absolute clusterfuck. But their occupation police in Mariupol are top notch. Fucking CSI Mariupol.
Hey, what was that movie with Dolph Lundgren? He's a
Oh,
cop.
dude,
Remember?
you're going back in the 90s.
This
Red
is
Heat
yes, that's it. How'd
with
you remember that?
with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Was Arnold Schwarzenegger the American cop that went over to Moscow, and Dolph Lundgren was
Wasn't he
this?
rolling with a flat top?
Oh man, now I got an internet
Red
search.
Heat. Oh, this is so bad. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize to the listenership that you got to deal with
We gotta do this.
with stuff back in the day.
Movie 1988. Arnold Schwarzenegger is the Soviet cop. Jim Belushi was the Chicago detective. Oh,
What? But there is a Dolph Lundgren.
It wasn't Dolph Lundgren. Not
Oh,
in,
well,
not
so
in
no,
Red Heat.
okay. It could have
I'm
been. Insert other bullshit 80s movie, sure.
I'm incredibly impressed that you remembered the title of that.
Well, there's a picture of Schwarzenegger, I think, with a flat top and sunglasses and a gun, like sideways or whatever.
And
Red
they had
Heat.
and Jim Belushi and Schwarzenegger had to mutually like cooperate to solve a murder, in Moscow.
Possibly one of the
And
worst
Chicago.
movie of the 80s. And that's
What?
saying something. Dude, and that's like saying something. Probably one of the worst movies of the fucking 80s. And that's saying a lot.
I don't know if that
Red
is
Heat.
true. Let's see. Howard the Duck. Here's a list of bad movies from the 80s. Howard the
What?
Duck. The second Jaws movie. None of these. Oh, Red Sonja. You seen that one? That's an Arnold
Stop.
Schwarzenegger movie.
Stop.
Yeah. This is
They
all
get
these,
worse. They get worse.
Yeah, there's got to be worse movies than these in the 80s. Huh.
You haven't
Okay.
named one yet.
Yeah, I know. I haven't come up with it. This is ChatGPT here, and I can't think
Oh,
of
it can't be
anything.
wrong.
Anyways,
Yeah.
well, it sucks here. Yeah. Anyways, dude got offed. Good job, Ukrainians, for killing
It worked.
that guy. Yeah.
Whack the dude, dump the evidence. You got nothing on me. I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Why are you blaming me?
Yep. Do we want to talk? Let's finish on this. Let's talk about this Ukrainians that destroyed this Russian counter battery radar system. First,
The listeners should be just thinking of piles of money in the background. How much it costs for a counter battery radar system? Millions.
Okay,
Oh.
let's show the video. I might have to back it up from the beginning. But this video basically showing the counter battery radar system. As usual.
Okay, that's now.
I don't know why it opens with this. This has nothing to do with it.
Well,
but
this video is really a montage of different things. A bunch of trucks getting whacked.
This is just a hit here. This is just a supply truck getting whacked.
This is a Russian battlefield supply chain getting hit. They're gonna do a couple of these, yeah.
So I guess we're just watching things get blown up.
But that's what is getting hit is trucks because Russia doesn't have armor anymore.
Yeah. Here's another hit.
Deuce and a half, yeah, whatever.
Ural, maybe that's a Ural.
What's a Kamaz?
I don't know. That one looks too big.
Ooh, there's a big one. Oh, that's moving heavy equipment.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice hit.
Oh, it's got a truck on it. Okay, here's the counter battery radar, and here's the drone comes right in, smacks it right in the kisser. But unless it's a military deception type thing that they created out of plywood, you can see one of these. I'll stop it, and we'll go back just to the counter battery radar. But it has a distinct signature because it has to. I guess let's explain. There we go.
There's the radar. The radar's up.
The radar's up here. Let's explain counter battery radar to the observer and the listeners. So when a artillery shell, let's say an artillery shell, and correct me if I'm wrong because you are mortars, so you know more about this than I do.
In the 90s.
When the artillery shell gets launched from the enemy, this radar basically picks it up and then calculates the trajectory, and it tells you not where it's going, but where it came from. And that information is relayed to your artillery battery. And then you conduct counter battery fire to try to destroy that piece of artillery. That's why HIMARS is so effective, because it can shoot and it's gone. Paladin, self-propelled gun, it shoots and then it's gone. So, even if you know where it came from, you don't know where the enemy artillery is going. But these things still very valuable, especially now that a lot of guns are in place in fixed positions.
I saw a video over a year and a half ago, of a Russian journalist with a Russian SPG, and Ukraine did accurate counter battery fire in about 30 seconds. The Russians clearly didn't know they were spotted or think they could respond quick enough. About 30 seconds, they received a direct hit from whatever Ukraine counter battery fire. It can be that quick. It comes at you quick if the system you described is working perfectly.
Sure. Also, that might be some drone observations too.
Sure.
So if they just happen to have something looking at that area, and then they see these artillery rounds popping off, they know right where it is. So very effective. Well, good. We got an assassination.
One last question for you.
Yes.
What Russian summer offensive doing? What's it doing, bro? It's the summer. What's it doing?
I think we just begun. Not very much. Not looking good for the Russians.
So a bunch of bullshit. A bunch of talk out of Russia, running their mouths. There's no response to the Ukrainians clowning the nuclear capable Air Force. They were humiliated militarily and politically. They've done nothing in response except a couple of. There was a video you didn't show. I don't know if I forwarded to you that. It was an attack. So I get the location right. It was like the biggest attack they had done outside of Yablonivka. Supposedly, there's been reporting about this, about 23 armored vehicles being struck and destroyed outside of there. Same thing, broad daylight, middle of an open field, down a dirt road, no deception, not at night. Hey, diddle diddle, right down the middle. Ukraine doesn't have to be good. They just have to be awake.
Yeah.
And then they annihilate you in about 20 minutes.
Yeah. Well, let's keep it going.
There's your summer offensive.
Let's keep it going. There's your summer offensive. Everybody's going to die. All right. Hey, good chat. Good chat.
Okay.
I will talk to you on Friday for War Weave Friday.
We talk about
China.
what the fuck we want to talk about.
That's right. We're going to talk about China. Landmines. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever we feel like it.
That's right. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
The Flash Traffic Podcast.